welcome back to another barbecue box reheating video, guys. Got a little bit of an Italian theme going on for this meal. We've got a panzanella salad with tomato, cucumber, a little red wine vinaigrette, and some fresh basil. We got mushroom arancini with a spicy tomato sauce, risotto ball. We've got a cheese tortellini, roasted tomato and spinach soup. Then we have some smoked acorn squash with some balsamic figs, some burrata, some toasted hazelnuts, and a sage oil. The main course is a crispy pork Milanese with a fennel and apple and arugula salad. And then finally we have an apple and pine nut cake with a lemon glaze. Let's start getting everything warmed up. All right, guys, so I've got an oven set at 425. I'm gonna pop the arancini, the pork cutlet, the acorn squash all in the oven. Honestly, guys, if you have an air fryer, I would basically do all of this stuff in the air fryer because you're just gonna get a nicer crisp on the pork and basically everything. Leave these in the pan, and if you can, just put this right on the rack, and by the time it gets nice and crisped up on the outside on like 400, you should be nice and warm through. But for the purposes of this, we'll put it in the oven. All right, guys, so those risotto balls in a standard oven will probably take 10 to 12 minutes to heat through and get crispy on the outside. An air fryer might be more like 7 to 8 minutes. The acorn squash in the oven, probably 6-7 minutes. And an air fryer, more like 4 or 5 minutes probably. Same thing with that pork cutlet. While those are heating up, we're going to pop this in the microwave, the soup, for about 2 minutes and start to dress our salad. All right, so we've got our veggies here. They're just tossed with like a little bit of oil just to keep them from oxidizing. Some extra virgin olive oil. We've got the basil, the cucumber, the tomato all mixed in together there. We've got some croutons, a little salt, pepper, Italian seasoning on them. Then we're gonna go in with a red wine vinaigrette, get everything dressed up. And then just a little salt. This you almost want to let sit for 5 or 10 minutes so that the croutons kind of rehydrate and suck up some of the juices from the vinaigrette and the veggies. And then that's ready to go. All right, these are nice and sizzling. Risotto balls. All right, guys, so this is the difference between what an air fryer can do and what like your normal oven can do. This is like a pretty run-of-the-mill air fryer, and you never really are gonna get this nice, crispy, percolating top out of just a convection oven or a conventional oven. So that's what that one looks like. And I left this in the pan. If you had like a little rack or something, that might be nice. It's pretty crispy, but you're never really gonna get it nice and bubbly like that before it's almost dried out. So again, if you have an air fryer, it's great. If you don't, I might recommend putting this on a little tray with a rack just so that the bottom doesn't get soggy as we're going. All right, guys, so that was about 10 minutes or so. We just took everything out of the oven. The pork, nice and crispy. We're gonna let that sit for a minute while we plate the rest of this stuff up. The squash, the arancini, again, these we left in the oven for a little bit longer than everything else, just so that they're like warm through in the center. And let's get everything on the plate. All right, guys, we've got our acorn squash. Again, we just put these in the smoker, dressed them with a little bit of olive oil and some of our house seasonings. Go ahead and get these on the plate. If you haven't ever had burrata cheese, it's basically the same as mozzarella cheese, but they don't let it kind of firm up just as much. So it has this sort of cottage cheese type stuff that kind of sits in the middle of the ball. And we've got some dried figs that we rehydrated in some balsamic vinegar. I'll add a nice little sweetness, a nice little acidity to this. And this was a kind of a fried sage oil. Finish this off. Risotto balls. again, these are mushroom arancini. So there's roasted mushrooms, the risotto, Parmesan cheese, little butter, some stock, and the spicy tomato sauce to go along with. Roasted tomato, spinach, tortellini. I'm gonna dump this. You don't have to use all this if you don't want. Get this arugula just a little bit dressed up. With a little squeeze of this lemon. And just a pinch of salt. And this is gonna go over the top of our pork chop. Slide this onto our plate, hopefully. Hit it with our squeeze of lemon over the top. Lemon helps to kind of cut some of that fat from the pork and our frying. A little bit more here. Parmesan cheese. Salad down. Then we got the apple cake. Hopefully it'll pop right out of the pan. Alright guys, here we are. So we have the acorn squash with the burrata, the figs, the balsamic, the roasted hazelnuts. We've got our mushroom arancini with our spicy tomato sauce. We've got our panzanella salad with the cucumber, tomato, the basil. Our tortellini soup with the roasted tomatoes and spinach. Our pork milanese with our arugula salad, fresh lemon squeeze. And then our apple pine nut cake with the lemon glaze. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you next month.